Alright, this is a review of the album Pegasus that Trippie Red just dropped, I'd say about maybe almost 2 hours ago. Now, what I have to say about this is that it's interesting. I'd give it a 7.5. I'll get straight to the point. I'm giving Pegasus, the Trippie Red album, a 7.5. And my favorite song on it is Kid to Kid, and my least favorite song on it is Good Morning, and I will be explaining that. Now, I don't have a great memory, so I can't take you through the entire album, plus it takes too long, but I could tell about 2 songs in, when he started talking about love 2 times in a row, I already knew that it was going to be kind of repetitive, like Juice WRLD's last album, where, it was a great album, but he just kind of repeated the same formula of, like, I'm so sad and all this, which is fine. It just really sounded similar. I still think the album is, like, an 8, but it was just really repetitive, So I'm sorry if that offends anybody. But I give this a 7.5 because, it wasn't what I wanted it to be. I wanted Pegasus to be a second Life's a Trip, because that's one of my favorite albums of all time. And my favorite Trippie album. And I wanted it to be like that. And he gave us Sleepy Hollow and Dreamer. Now, Dreamer has a lot of aspects from Life's a Trip, with the 2018 Trippie melody and the heavenly beat. And Sleepy Hollow has a lot of attributes from Trippie's last album, A Love Letter to You 4. Was, the hardcore stuff, talking about guns and drugs, and just really hype trap stuff, which I really like. I think he did a great job. Not Sleepy Hollow, no, my bad. Sorry, I'm getting it mixed up. But yeah, and everyone was so excited. Everyone heard those 2 songs and some other songs that he put out and thought this was fire, because all of them were pretty good. Excitement, I Got You, Sleepy Hollow, and Dreamer were pretty good. Well, Dreamer wasn't on the album, and those were good songs, but they were really beaten out by the other songs. So let me tell you why. So it wasn't really a bad album, and the beats were amazing. Okay, look, the beats were amazing. The lyrics were interesting, at the least. They were very trippy, just not in a good way. Like, for example, I'm not even going to talk about Good Morning. That song is my least favorite. It disgusts me a lot. I think that is disgusting. As a fellow Christian, this is a Christian channel. That's my branding. Have you looked in the bottom right corner of this video? That's my branding. And hearing that from my second favorite artist was just disgusting. I didn't expect anything less. I like his music. I knew that was gonna be in the album. So I'm not saying, oh, how could you do this? I knew that was gonna be in the album. I'm not shaming him at all. It was just kind of disgusting to hear, And I also noticed, this was definitely a love album. Which is not what I thought it was going to be. Even though I will admit, 3 of the songs he put out were love songs. I will admit, there were 3 of them. 3/4 of the singles he put out were love songs. But, every Trippie album has some love songs. I didn't know it was going to be like half of them. And it was pretty disappointing. I didn't get as much of that A Love Letter to You 4 feel as I wanted. Neither did I get the Life's a Trip feel. I more got the A Love Letter to You 3 feel, which, not the feel I was going for. I'll take it. It's just, Not what I was hoping for. I was hoping for something I could vibe to and sit down and just think, I'm so glad I waited 4 months for this. It wasn't that. It really wasn't. And that, I think that was the biggest disappointment of the album, was that I thought it was going to drop on Trippie's birthday, June 18th. I had to wait, we all had to wait 4 months with only four. I mean, there were a bunch of links. In fact, the whole album could be Shazammed, but only four official singles, just to get something that I can't really sit down and think I want to add this. I want to add this whole album to my playlist. Because it's just not something. It's not like any other Trippie album. Because even with A Love Letter to You 3, I feel like I could sit there and, not skip that many songs. And if I did, it would only be like 3. I could just sit there and be like, oh, I don't want this. But for the most part, I love it. But, I mean, with this album, I have to skip like half the songs. I mean, I did it. I listened to all the songs so that I can make this review and have an actually accurate review. And man, I don't know how I feel about this. To be honest, I don't know how I feel about this album at all. It's really graphic, to say the least. It's really graphic. Very graphic. I don't know if I said this before, but I'll say it again. He talks a lot about doing the dirty, if you know what I mean. Like, a lot. It's like the main focus of the album. He has a whole song about it, which is this. That was a tragedy. But you know what else was a tragedy? Trippie bringing Lil Mosey back. Now, Lil Mosey has been clowned ever since 2019. I mean, like midsummer 2019, when he did that awful, terrible XXL freestyle and tried to copy Kodak Black. He's been clowned ever since then. But then Trippie put him on A Love Letter to You 4, on one of the greatest Trippie songs there was, and completely ruined the song. Well, not completely ruined. You just have to skip his verse. So he did that, and then he puts him on this album too, which I got so upset when I figured that out. He really put Mosey on an album that nobody wanted him on, and Mosey didn't even fit. Mosey's verse was terrible, as normal. He said it was his year. It wasn't your year, bud. The only thing about this that was your year was Blueberry Faygo. Did that blow up? Yes. And people still clown you. You have a super huge song that probably got like millions of streams, maybe even close to hundreds of millions, or at least 500,000. And people are still clowning you because of that freestyle last year. I just don't think that was a good decision. And honestly, I think this is going to be some people's least favorite Trippie album. Because, I mean, the thing about this album, so the reason why A Love Letter to You 2 is everybody's least favorite album isn't because it's bad, it's because it's not memorable. He kind of just threw it in there out of nowhere for no reason. He hadn't gone through a breakup, and he hadn't made and he just made it in the same year. So people were so adoring of A Love Letter to You #1 that they didn't bother to listen to A Love Letter to You 2, because they were just so disgusted. It was like when somebody has twins and they all put their attention to the one that's better, like ultimately better, but the story still tries to make you feel bad for the one that was bad. And it wasn't a bad album. A Love Letter to You 2 wasn't a bad album. It just wasn't memorable. See, this is memorable because of the lyrics. Okay. I never talk about the lyrics because I don't want to. I'll just say this. In V12, I specifically remember him saying, oh god, I'm gonna throw up. Basically, just listen to it. Just listen to it. You know, no. I'm not gonna wimp out. YouTube, don't terminate me. I didn't write this. Trippie Red wrote this. Oh my god, gripping that girl's neck while doing unholy things to her cat. Now, we all know what he means by cat. But dude, what the freak? Some people aren't gonna know what that means. And you're going to look like Shane Dawson, basically. That was not a good way to phrase it. I know it didn't rhyme, but if I had written an entire song and realized that was one of the bars, I would just rewrite that entire verse. Because if V12 was a good song, I added it to my playlist. But if you just rewrote that little verse, it probably could have been a 9 out of 10 song for me. Because it wasn't too hype, it wasn't too mellow, it was perfect. But he added that one little line that just really messed it up. And I will give Sun God some credit. It sounds like an outro song, even though it's not called outro. It's still the outro, and it sounds like an outro. It sounds like the ending to a movie, or like the credits when you're talking to your friend or mom about how good the movie was and how you want to see the next one in the series. It was pretty good. I'd say it was pretty good for an outro song. It didn't leave you feeling too nostalgic because you were already so ruined from the album itself. And it was overall a good listen, I'd say. And so that's all I really have to mention in this. Oh, also, TR666, the reason it sounds like that, and you're probably thinking, oh, but that sounds like it's from a Life's a Trip. It was made in 2018, I'm pretty sure. And the reason I know this is because back last year, it was actually on Apple Music from a whole different album made in 2018, but it got taken down on Apple. So Trippie just probably saw this album as a chance to re-upload it, which I think was a great idea because I forgot how good that song was. So overall, yeah, this gets a 7.5 from me because it's not bad. The beats are really good, and you know he does have a lot of melody, and you know there are a lot of songs that I added to my playlist because I genuinely think they're good, even if they have the dirty aspect in them. That doesn't mean that they're bad songs, it just means that they're unholy. But I mean, half the song is just uncomfortable, and it's not something that you can listen to on the road with your mom, even the clean version. And to any kid who has the guts to play that in the car, I don't know. It's probably gonna be the next TikTok challenge. But yeah, this was kind of disappointing. I hate to say it. I mean, the album's not bad. 7.5. It's a 7.5 out of 10 album. But it's just kind of disappointing. It's not what I wanted. I can't vibe to it. It barely has any of the aspects I wanted in it. I mean, when they did have the aspects, they were really good. But it was just a big, like, misunderstanding for me, I guess. So I guess it being disappointing isn't Trippie's fault. But it's disappointing for me because it's not what I thought it was going to be. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.